Vanakkam, and thank you all of you for giving me this opportunity. I am Mrs. Leeladevi Ananthanadarajah, the General Secretary of the Association for the Relatives of the Enforced Disappearances from the north and east of Sri Lanka. My eldest son, A. Anuraj, was taken away by the Sri Lankan army for interrogation when he was waiting for the bus with the people to go to the welfare centers. After completing all the registration and checking formalities at the Omanda checkpoint to enter the military controlled area, he has not returned back after that, and one of our relatives who was travelling with him had immediately informed me that my son had been apprehended by the Sri Lankan army. In the wake of this, I started looking for him in all the detention camps of Sri Lankan army. Not only my son, but also tens of thousands innocent Tamil youths like my son had been arrested and taken for questioning under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. The struggle for justice for our missing loved ones commenced on 20th February 2017 and continued for its 2,259 days. Many of the mothers handed over their loved ones to the Sri Lankan army at the end of the war. Believing the fake promises of the Sri Lankan government, many people had surrendered themselves in front of their parents and spouses. Some people were snatched from the hospitals where they were receiving treatments, and some others at the checkpost for interrogation. Subsequently, all of them have gone missing. Moreover, some were abducted in the military controlled area by armed forces, and they were also forced to disappear subsequently. We held these protests and rallies in order to draw the attention of the international community and to make the international community to understand that there will be no justice to the Tamil people from the Sri Lanka government. We held talks with then President Mr. Maithripala Sirisena twice. He promised that he will sort out our problem, but he failed to do so. As the then President of Sri Lanka, Mr. Maithripala Sirisena, ignored our demand, we told him to his face that we will not find justice from the Sri Lankan government and we will seek justice from the international community. Accordingly, until today, we are seeking justice from the international community. The racist Sri Lankan government enforced one justice for Tamils and another one justice for Sinhalese. Murderer Lieutenant Sunil Ratnayaka, who was convicted and sentenced to death in a murder case where 8 people, including small children, were hacked to death in Mirsivil. This was happened because of the correct identification and evidence by a person who escaped from this brutality. But then President Gotabaya Rajapakse came to power. He was given general amnesty and released. This action will give the rest of the army the confidence that even if they kill Tamils, they will be safeguarded anyway by the Sri Lankan government. This is just one example. Many similar cases can be cited. In Mullaitiru, when the Sinhala Buddhist priest tried to demolish an ancient Hindu temple and to put up a Buddha statue with help of army, Tamil people resorted to court. The court ordered that no construction work should be carried by anyone. But surrounded by the government forces, more than 100 Buddhist monks and Sinhala civilians were brought from the south in vehicles, and construction of the Buddhist temple was carried out illegally. No other example is needed that court order is only for Tamils and not for Sinhalese. Similarly, the Buddhization of the Tamil region is happening rapidly every day. Suggestions were collected from the Tamil people to form an office for the missing persons that was supposedly created for the war victims. These suggestions were compiled as resolutions and handed over to the government by the consultation task force duly set up by the Sri Lankan government. But none of these suggestions were not incorporated when OMB is formed in a dictatorial manner. We expressed our displeasure and objection to the president and who were in charge for this task. Not only that, we also had informed the ambassadors and the medias. Despite this, the OMB Act was passed in the Parliament in a dictatorial manner without the participations of the victims, regardless of their objection. Subsequently, the Sri Lankan government had started to open the OMB offices gradually in various districts in the north and east, one after another. Due to our protest, OMB office in Jaffna was opened at 4:30 a.m. in the early morning, and in Kilnochi it was opened during the COVID curfew time. These OMB offices were not open to give us solution but to deceive the UN and the international community. In this regard, we have clearly explained to the UN and the international ambassadors, though many commissioners were established in the past. Though many commissions were established in the past to find solutions for grievances, no constructive measures were taken by them. Instead, wasting of time only. Many of the diplomats told us to try the OMB at first. Even though we were tired after going to so many commissions, we arranged a meeting with OMB commissioners as per the wishes of the international community. We had discussions with the commissioners, and at the end of the interview, we told the OMB commissioners that we will hand over them the details of the 5 missing persons with strong evidences, and the OMB should find the solution for at least one case within 3 months. And if they are successful in this task, we said we will trust OMB, and accordingly we handed over details of the 5 disappeared people. This inactive OMB had not been able to resolve any of the 5 details handed over to them on 20th July 2019. Hence, we decided to reject the OMB entirely. Not only that, we are not even ready to trust any of the internal mechanism. Our target is to refer the Vayapulas and the Sri Lankan government to the International Criminal Court. This alone will make the Sinhala government to think twice before laying hand on the Tamils. Thousands of people, like my son, were arrested and taken for interrogation and forced to disappear because of the Prevention of Terrorism Act. Currently, due to people's protest, the Prevention of Terrorism Act, the PTA, has been removed due to the international pressure. But all the arrangements had been made to bring a new act called Anti-Terrorism Act, that is ATA, pretending to respect the international community, but it is more dangerous than previous one. If this act is implemented, we, the old mothers who are fighting in a democratic manner, will be in prison. The ATA will also suppress freedom of the media reporting the violations against Tamils by detaining and torturing journalists. Freedom of expression will completely be denied, even it is for our rights. We will be sent to the jail saying that we are fighting against the government in future. The Tamils will not able to even dream about the fundamental rights. The families of the disappeared and myself are appealing to the international community for justice, and that means to young people like you who are listening to me, please write to your representatives in the US Congress to stop funding Sri Lanka's military and the police who oppress civilians. Ask your representative to write to the State Department of repeal the PTA and prevent the ATA becoming act. And finally, as young people passionate about freedom, show your solidarity with us by going before the Sri Lanka Embassy in Washington and protesting Sri Lanka's violation of human rights. Please do for us. Thank you.